Hi everyone, very welcome to weekly Newcomers meeting of Layer 5. We will be starting in a couple of minutes, but we'll wait for others to join, and we'll also make sure that you all have access to the stocks. So I'll be quickly sharing this meeting minutes in chat that you can head on to and write your name in the attendees list. And I'll also need one of you to be my companion for this particular meeting. And so basically, if at any point my audio is not coming through, it would help a lot if you let me know. So do I have any volunteer from any one of the participants today?
I can do it if you want. Hello.
Yeah, hi, thanks a lot. Yep. I'll quickly get us set up for that particular activity. So I'll quickly pass the co-host privileges to you. So yep, there you are. Thanks a lot for volunteering. So I'll repeat for those who just joined. I first of all, I welcome you all to this weekly newcomers meeting. We'll be going through a couple of areas which, if you are acquainted with, you will be good to getting started with, contributing and participating in the various projects that we have. So it will be a kind of overview on various areas that is there in the community. But before we do that, I'll quickly once again share this meeting minutes. That's a Google Docs. You're all supposed to head on to this and write your name with attendees, and also you can take a look at the resources. Hers, can you please once confirm if my voice is still breaking?
No, you're audible.
Thanks a lot, Hers. Do you mind if I also make you one of the, board companions so it will not hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot. All right. So I think I sent that message, and that is, yep, use that link that is in chat and write your name in attendees, and also take a look at the various links that I'll be talking about. We'll also be doing one quick little exercise that is making yourself familiar with the GitHub contribution flow, how you all are supposed to make changes, and then how you can, propose that change by submitting a pull request, in GitHub terminology. So we'll be going through that exercise, and you will all need to have one GitHub account. But we'll wait for 2 minutes before we get there. Yeah, so I think we are good to start, and so we'll be starting with our introductions. So I'll be starting with giving my intro first. So my name is Vivek, and I'm former intern for I was intern in a couple of programs like LFX, then Layer5's own, and currently I'm a community manager, and also I'm maintaining docs and a couple of sites that we will be going through into this particular call. So that's pretty much about me. I'm always available through public Slack channels or discussion forum. You'll also see me hosting various meetings, including this one that we are right now on. So yeah, that would be pretty much about me. Next up, any one of you who would like to go next and give their introduction, this is the time you can do it now. Unmuting yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Go.
Please go ahead. Hi, please go ahead.
Hi guys, my name is Tapelos.
Yeah, hi, welcome. Please go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, thank you. My name is Tapelo Soteti, all the way from South Africa. So my background, it's mostly in the back end, using Python as well as and Java. So recently we've started with things like microservices, Kubernetes, and stuff like that. So that's how I discovered the community. So I'm just hoping to learn and contribute as much as possible. That's me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your intro, and thank you for joining the call as well. And so, if you are someone wanting to learn Kubernetes, I think I've got a resource for you that I'll be pointing out later in this meeting. So yeah, thank you for your introduction. Who's going to be the next one to give that intro?
Hello guys, am I audible? First of all,
Yep, you are.
so hello guys, I'm Shrikara Rajendra. I'm currently a fourth year student at NITK India. So I was a former intern at Sprinkler, and yeah, I have some experience with Kubernetes, and I'm currently exploring Kubernetes native applications. So yeah, I think I have found the right place.
Thank you. So I think it's Shrikara, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, thank you for your intro, and yeah, we are equally excited for you to be being a part of the community. So I'll do my best to demonstrate various areas into the project which might align with your interests and tech skills. So I would say stay tuned. Thanks a lot for your introduction.
Thank you.
So folks, stage is all yours. You can unmute and give your quick intro.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Good afternoon. So I'm Messi, and I'm a distributed system engineer. So recently I started looking into clouds, and I found this community through LFX. I contributed to Teku and Beso, which is still under LFX. So that's why I'm here.
Yep. So first of all, welcome to the call, and thank you for your intro. Yep, we do get a lot of students and contributors from LFX, and there's no surprise in that because we're #1 internship program out there in entire LFX. So and if I'm not wrong, we also have a couple of slots open right now, which I think are accepting applications or may have closed recently. And I hope that you all got your applications in. If you did not, fret not. Like there are many other opportunities coming up, like for GSOC and then the other, and also like the LFX program that runs thrice a year. So if you missed this seasons, there's always next time you can apply. And in fact, if you are consistently contributing, and it's something we will be discussing in this call, and that is any consistent contributor, who is engaging with the community, is helping others, they get themselves invited to the core team program, which then also has this opportunity for them to be interning with Layer5 directly. So these opportunities we'll be exploring in this particular call. And so yeah, thanks a lot for your intro, Mercy. I'm hopeful that this meeting will get you, resources and a sense that will help you in your exploration further. So I really appreciate you giving your introduction. Next up, we'll be taking, a couple of more introduction before we start with the topics. So yeah, I'll be waiting for any one of you who'd want to go next.
Hello.
Okay, okay. If you want, you can go.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Kush and I'm from Mumbai, India. So this is going to be my first open source project. My tech stack has been Node.js and Flutter before this. So this is going to be a new tech stack as well as the first open source project. And I'm a student of third year computer engineering.
That's great, Kush. So did you say that you are familiar with React and Golang?
I'm familiar with React, Node.js and Flutter. I have put my hands into Golang a month back. So I'm not very familiar, but this is going to be my first project where I will learn Golang side by side.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's what like I repeated on the weekly dev call that we have. So, much likely this meeting, we also have other meetings. And so there was one yesterday that's called Mystery Dev meeting. There I repeated this thing that I often share with new members of the community, and that is it's best to learn any new technology by contributing to open source project. I think you are on right track, and I'll do my best. So thanks a lot for your intro, Kush.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hello, my
Hi,
name is
please go ahead.
Giuseppe. I discovered you through GSOC, and I'm really fond of Golang, so I think that this community can be a good experience to learn and upscale my toolset with Golang and Kubernetes. So I'm really happy to have joined this community.
Great. Do you also mind telling us where is it that you are calling from right now?
Sorry?
Can you also, by any chance, let us know which is the country that you are, you belong from?
I'm from Italy.
Yeah, great. So, I may be mistaken, and I'll ask the maintainer to forgive me, but we have, a maintainer, Matthew, who may be from Italy. I'm not totally, correct on that, and it very much aligns with your goals of, working into Golang, because he's a CLI maintainer, and the CLI is basically a Golang client. So, hopefully his guidance will help you as you are exploring. So I would say stay looking for various mesh-CTL labeled issues that you have in repository that I'll be, very quickly taking you through. And so you can pick any one of them and get started. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can ask the maintainers. So I just thought, I'll mention Matthew because I I think he's from Italy, or but you will find out, and hopefully not say to Matthew. He might get upset.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your
Okay,
intro.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Folks, we are 12 minutes into the call, and it's also very important for us to be not running out of time because we have a lot of things to cover. And so at this point, I'll urge those of you who are yet to give an introduction to do so in chat box, and I'm sure that other co-host and any number of other members that are on the call, they will be there to welcome you. So yeah, please go ahead and give your introduction quickly in the chat box. We will now be moving ahead with the topics that we have to talk about today. And I'm not sure who had selected the entire docs, but it would be helpful if you undo that. All right. So, folks, before we start with topics and I start telling you about community, let's also quickly do this exercise, and that's simply making a commit in GitHub. And so it may be very much familiar to those of you who have interacted with GitHub before, but for any one of you who it might who for whom it the GitHub may be very new, follow along, and I think you will be good to go. What we will all need to do is to come to this particular GitHub folder, and the link is in the docs that I linked into the chat box, and I'm sharing the direct link right now with you in the Zoom chat. So yep, this is the folder that says week of 17th Feb. So inside docs, inside meetings, and then this week, we will all have to come to this particular location, create a file on our name. Inside that file, the content would be around your social media handles like LinkedIn, GitHub, your portfolio site. And then you can commit that file and submit a pull request. So this was a very high level overview on what we are going to do next. Now, what I will do, I will actually do this step with you all. So first of all, I'm sure that you all can access that link that I shared in chat, which will lead you to this particular UI, right? So this is similar to what you can see in your local machine whenever you're exploring various folders. Now, let's get started. So at this point, you will first need to have a GitHub account, and then what you want to do is to fork this GitHub repo, and that is to say, make a copy of this project for yourself. Since I've already done this particular activity, I will not have to repeat it, but for those of you who are looking to do it, you simply can click onto this button which says fork, right? It also, gives this tooltip of fork your own copy of this project. So you get the idea. Once you are done with that, you would want to navigate to your GitHub repositories under your user profile. So, as I click on my profile, I can go to your repositories, And there, hopefully, I will have Mishri as a project copied for me to make changes. Yep, so there we are, and it says forked from Mishri/Mishri, which is, the main project from where we copied. And I'm a couple of commits behind. And so in a day, like there are, if I'm not wrong, 50 plus commits at least made. And so it's very natural for me to be running behind the main project. And for taking care of that, I just simply have to click onto this particular button, update branch. And yep, looks like I'm set. So what we covered till now is simply that you will have to first fork the repo main project, like make a copy of it, and then you can find it in your users repositories. And I'm onto that repositories, and I saw that I'm lagging behind in terms of changes. So I just clicked that button, like the update button, and now I'm good to explore that folder, which is basically this meetings folder for this particular week. Let's quickly follow that same structure. So it says docs, then underscore meetings, and then this one, right? I'll go to docs and I'll scroll down to find meetings. I'll go to this week, which is basically 17th Feb's week. I think we are there, yeah. And now actually the main activity starts happening. So I'll click on add file, create new file. And at this point, I'll pause and ask my co-hosts if whatever I was sharing was visible to you all, and whether or not I was, my audio was clear. If you confirm, that will help a lot.
Yes, it was visible.
Thanks. All right, so now I will simply name this file. And like, as you can see, it's vivekvishal.md, which is my name, and then extension for markdown files. You can also have something like, Go or, HTML or CSS. Let's just keep MD for my file. And in here, I'll just simply write my name. But like I said, you can include your LinkedIn profile, a link to your portfolio site. So basically whatever you would want other members to know about you. But for the purpose of demonstration, I'll just quickly write my name. And looks like I'm all set to commit changes. And so, let's not rush this part. Okay, so now I made changes and I'll click on commit changes, and it gives me two choices like commit directly to master branch or create a new branch for this commit and start a pull request. If you could recall, I mentioned this term of pull request, right? And this is exactly what we want to do. So I'll go for the second one. I'll click on this particular button that says sign off and propose changes. We'll wait for GitHub to do its thing for us. And now like this kind of UI comes up, which says compare changes, right? And it has a couple of things that you can also take a look at later. But very quickly, I can see the changes that I've done, right? Just writing my name in there. All right, now very important, we will not click this create pull request button, right? What I want you all to do is now navigate to the main project from where you copied this one repo. So yep, that will be Mishri/Mishri, right? And that link you also can find in the chat box. And in fact, if you are into your repo, you also can go to the code tab, and from here you can go to the main project. Yep. So let's stay on to that course. So I made changes to my local repo, and then I navigated to the main project from where I copied. And now that I'm on this main project, I get this pop-up compare and pull request. So it's green for me. For you, it may be blue or red button based on your preferences, color preferences in GitHub. And yeah, that is the same UI I get onto onto this particular page too. But what it will do right here is that it will create a pull request to the main project. Unlike if I click create pull request on here, it will just submit it to my local copy only. I don't want that to be happening. I want this pull request to land into the main project's repo, which is, if I quickly show you, is simply these many pull requests that are there. I want my pull request to be appearing in this list. So we are basically doing that for creating this So this also asks us to write a title. I'll like I do in every Newcomers meeting. I'll quickly give it a more meaningful title than just say create vivekvishal.md. So for the week of, and this is if I'm not wrong. So marking my attendance for the week of 17th Feb and simply create pull request. Yeah, folks, so there we are. If I quickly now take you to the pull requests tab in the main project Zippo, you can find my pull request, and that's all. That is all that I have to do. And I'm hopeful that all of you on the call will follow the same, steps. And at any point, if you're running into an issue, so you just simply can unmute and let me know. So we'll be able to, figure it out together. For the time being, what I will do, I'll just simply add this check mark to my name, and that says I actually participated in the activity. And basically the aim for us to be doing this in every newcomers meeting is for us to be, making other members comfortable, if they are here to make code changes, or if they just want to, write blog posts or any sort of contribution that they want to do. It's, inevitable that they will have to go to GitHub and make some changes. And so it would be very, opportune for us to be demonstrating that very early on. There will be some checks failing. We will be coming onto that and let you know. So don't worry, just simply get that PR up. And in the process, if you have any question, feel free to ask me. I will quickly take a look at the participants and see a hand raised from Mercy. So yeah, feel free to unmute yourself and let me know what's the question.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't help but notice they did say 17th of February.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So this week it started on Monday, right?
Okay.
Am I audible?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
hopefully
sorry.
that
Okay, I guess it's now.
Yeah. Yep. So since this started on Monday, which is basically this week, and the date was 17th Feb, so that's why we are having this name of week of 17th Feb. Hopefully that makes sense now. All right, folks. So I think what I just showed you all was helpful for you to be getting that PR up. And like I said, I repeated it like a couple of times. If you have any question, you can either sound off through chat or can directly let me know through unmuting yourself. So I'll pause for like 10 seconds and see if any one of you have any question. If not, we'll be moving forward. Yeah, so I think that's legit question, and that the file you will find into this particular link. Let me quickly share that in chat with you. So you also, and yeah, let me also drop this Google Docs link in chat box. We have one hand raised from Array, so yeah, please go next and ask your questions or query.
I just want to know if there's any naming convention for the branch names.
No, there's no naming convention.
Okay.
All right. So I think we are good. And yep, let's quickly get rolling with other topics. So very quickly, is this call strictly for new members of the community? And the answer would be no. Let me look for some names who might not be joining this call for the very first time. Looks like I'm about, yeah, Oscar. So for example, Oscar is someone who is not here for the very first time. And I'm sure it will be true for any number of other participants too. And that says, if you want to join this call in the next Thursday meeting, you are more than welcome to do so. And in fact, who knows, if you're here for long enough, you can host these meetings, because everything that we are doing into this particular call is everything, collective community effort. It also says that in at the top of the Google documentation. So yep, we do need contributors who are facilitating other members, are helping them, and if you would like to be someone, doing that, let me know and we'll talk about it. So I think I answered that question. Next up, what we do in the Newcomers call, so I, for my part, will be trying my level best to give you an overview on whether it's technical side of the things, like making code changes to projects that take scale maintainer, where you would find the actual code, to, let's say, if it's something aligning with community management or mission mates, maintainers, and who are these people, what's the requirement for being one, and how you also can be, assume any one of these roles. So yeah, I'll like touch upon these details too. And in the very end, I'll be sharing with you, what to say, a thread, a community forum thread where you actually can sound off with any suggestions that you might have for me or for the community, or if you just simply want to say thank you, you also can do that through a link that I'll be sharing with you, towards the end of this particular call. Now that we have answered these two questions, let's quickly first take a look at this new members form. So there it is, and I'll be sure to share this with you all into the chat box. Yep, so as you would guess, it asks you some details about you, your year in school. I don't know, yeah, it's not your year in school, but yep, it's about your school or, your organizations that you may be working into. And then as you go to the next step, it will ask you which area of the community you would like to contribute to, what's the take a skill that you're most proficient in, and details of those sorts. So be sure to take some time to fill them out. And as you do that, once you fill this form successfully, you will be getting access to the shared resources that we have for the community, like documentation for various projects, various assets in form of fonts, and logos, for example, and there are any number of other assets included there. So if any one of you have already, filled this form, you can go to your Google Drive, and in there in shared drives, you will find a drive that goes by the name of Layer5 Community Drive, and I'm sure that you will be able to find any number of resources that I just mentioned in there. And it's pretty important for all of us to be filling this form, because only after you fill it up locally, you get access to make suggestions to these docs. So please do if you have not already. I already shared that link with you in chat. We will be taking a look at various projects that we have. And so the question has been asked multiple times, what's Layer5 and what's Meshri? And it makes sense because Meshri is one of our, I would say one of the biggest projects that we steward. And it's tradition in other org as well. There's this, umbrella org, which has many projects inside it. And the same is true for Layer5, organization, where we have many these projects. The biggest one, of course, being Meshri. But yeah, there are any number of other projects too, which are listed onto this particular page. So we will not be going through all of these projects, individually, but I highly recommend you going through all of these, based on your interest and skill as you're exploring the projects, and see where it is that your interests lie. So the link to the project space is in chat. And this next page might be helpful for those who are here to make code contribution, or just simply want to know where they will find code for a particular project. So this is known as repository overview page in our handbook section. I'll quickly share this in chat. And in here, you will find all the projects based on their category. So front-end projects, back-end project, cloud native, patterns repos, and there are any number of other projects that obviously we will not be able to, it's not just feasible for us to be covering them all into just one particular meeting. But I think this page does well to list out all the projects, their framework that they are based on. For example, this particular site, it's a site, right? And which is this site, if you click on it, it takes you to there. And in fact, we are currently on this particular site only. It's a Gatsby site. That's a React framework. Who is the maintainer? Well, it's vacant for now. And so you guessed it right. If we are looking for people who can, lead this particular project, like the site, and it's only going to happen if they are here making impact for longer period of time. And then if you want to take a look at various open issues for this particular project, you can simply click on GitHub logo, and that takes you to all the open issues or PRs that you can browse through. And it's true for other project too. Let's not discuss about all of them. But I think one thing that's worth mentioning is this particular note about core team participation program. So apart from all of the open source projects that we have, there are two which in particular are private, and you can read more about that into this particular note. But yeah, contributions to those two projects are on a invitation basis. So if you are here engaging for long enough, you might be invited. And so I will make sure that I share this page with you all. Yep, there it is in chat. So take your time and take a look at all these projects that might, align with your tech skills. We have covered these sections. Now the section would start for someone who is into, UI UX side of the things. So we also have a dedicated Slack channel in our workspace. So I'll also be quickly sharing the Slack community link in chat. So if you're not a part of it yet, do make sure that you, get into the community. So any UX discussions that you might want to have, you will be doing that in that UX channel in Slack. But for now, we'll be quickly taking a look at this sign up form. So this is UX contributor application, and you simply can fill it up to remind the team and managers to be reaching out to you. And yep, like most of the mockups that we have, it's inside Figma, which is pretty, popular tool for doing, designing the front end applications. So this particular link that I just shared in chat, it's a self-redeeming link. So it gives you access automatically as you click on it. So once again, that's in chat. So once you get in there, you will be able to find all the resources and mockups that we have into the, design files. Next up, there's this mention of Systems project, which is our own design system. So if you have ever used MUI, you can think of it, something similar, but this has all the components that we use across various projects, and it's actually a work in progress and like area where help is wanted. And so if you have familiarity with TypeScript and some UI UX skills too, you simply can ask for assignment on any one of these open issues, and I'm sure that you will be assigned. You also can go through various system components, how to use them, in fact, in your own projects too, if you want to, into this particular section of the site. So I'll also be sharing that link. So if we quickly take a look at components, there are any number of components that are listed. And let's quickly take a look at buttons component. So there's this, overview, then guidance. What we will take a look at is the code. So in the code section of this particular documentation for buttons component, if I click on show code, it tells me how you can, how we can use it in our project. So you can read more about system and its various details onto this particular section that I shared in chat. I would also quickly mention about the effort that contributors are making into documenting more of these components. So all the components which is available into this system design system, they are in need of being documented onto this particular, section on the site. And we have a lot of open issues in this particular regard. So if I quickly once open that, and I'm sure that will be somewhere, yes, right here in this section. Add system components in Layer5 system project. Let's quickly click onto this system open issues. Yep. So all these, I guess, yeah, 29 open issues that you see, they are all similar in nature. And that is, this is just a documentation, kind of issue where you will have to make changes to the code, adding details about the component, how to use it, and basically the details that we just were looking at into the component section. And we have dedicated training video and a guide as well on Systent. In fact, on to this particular, Newcomers meeting itself, and also on Monday's sites meeting, we had hands-on demo on how to set up the Systent project locally and how to make changes. But suffice to say that if you want to work on any one of these, you simply can comment that you want to work on it, and that will be all we'll be able to assign you. And there's also dedicated guide, description in there. So, and you always can ask for more clarification if that helps. So there goes the assistant issues. Let's get back to the discussions that we were having. Yeah, these two links I think will be helpful for anyone who is who want to get more familiar with Layer5 and various assets that it has. So it's pretty important for any UI UXer to be knowing about which type of color we use, which fonts we are using across the projects. So that all assets you will find into this brand kit. And similarly, you can find the sitemap, which will lead you to a Sigma file that basically tells you how various pages are interconnected onto this particular project. That is Layer5's main project, Layer5 IO. So if you want to explore it out, I'll quickly share the site's link in chat. Looks like we are on to the next thing, and that is Meshmate. So who all are Meshmates? And I would say they are serial contributors who are making impact into in one or maybe many, but basically they have volunteered to help other members to get started with contribution. And these folks, as you can see on your screen, are current Meshmates. You can reach out to them directly and they will be able to help you out, either getting with you on a Google meeting or in your Slack DMs. And I'm saying Slack DM and a personal Google meeting, because whatever conversation that you're having in the open source community that is in Layer5, it's always suggested that you do that in public Slack channels instead of DMs. So if you have any question, never do any DM to any maintainer or any contributor. Always do it publicly so that others are also aware and can also chime in wherever they have thoughts. So that way you are doing a good contribution to the community as well. As your discussions are public, all have the context around it. But Meshmates can go in person with you. So you can reach out to any one of these, like Yash, then another Yash, Anita, Nikhil, Sivai. And if just in case you want to know more about these individuals, I'll be quickly sharing the link with you in chat. If you want to read an interview of one of the Meshmates, who is also one of the maintainers in Meshri and recently graduated from the community and currently is working as a developer advocate at DigitalOcean, Yash Sharma, you can take a look at this interview post that I just shared in chat. And I think it's very inspiring journey of Yash. Like he says how he got from a contributor to intern to maintainer, and finally is a core maintainer too and has been making waves. So the link is attached again in chat box. We will be now focusing on how you can send a request for pairing up with a Meshmate. So simply follow the link, come onto the site, click on discussion forum, which is also our community forum, as you might have seen in other communities as well. So we have various places where you can interact with the community, share your thoughts if it's around bug enhancements or any proposal that you have. And there are any number of places, including this particular system, which is a discourse plugin, and it's called discuss.layer5.io. I'll quickly share this link in chat. And yep, you guessed it right. If you want to pair up with the Meshmate, you simply can create a new topic, and whatever you can do with these fields, I'll leave it to you. But make sure that you add a Meshmate tag. Basically, this helps in part because all of the maintainers, not the maintainers, but Meshmates, they are sent a notification by the system automatically. So that helps notifying them. And in fact, you will find other instances of contributors asking for pairing up with a Meshmate. So that might also give you idea on how you can draft that request. But yeah, this is community forum. In addition to making requests for Meshmates, you can discuss any ideas that you may have, or let's say you are setting up a project and you're running into an issue. You also can ask that into this forum only, like others have done. What is also helpful is that, let's say there's this question from Lawrence, the contributor is named Lawrence. So if you are aware why it's happening and if you know how it can be fixed, it's more than helpful of you to be going there and replying them like, hey, like I followed this particular steps and it fixed it for me. So that would be a great contribution from you. So what I mean to say is that interact as much as you can onto this forum. That will help a lot. And in fact, if you think about it, later in the future, if someone has same questions as you're asking questions around your issues, they might also get benefited from the answers that your thread got, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So for that reason, I just shared the link in chat and you can feel free to check it out. Yep, when we talk about contributing, it's pretty important to be keeping in mind the contributing guide and also code of conduct. I will be quickly sharing this contributing guide, and that's around Meshery. So Meshery being one of our projects, it has many components, and so you may be interested to contribute to UI, or let's say a backend side of the things, or Golang, Meshery CTL, which is a CLI client. And as you can see, any number of these are listed. So for example, end-to-end tests using Playwright. So all of these components, how you can set them up locally, get them running, you will find detailed documentations around them into the page that we are currently on. If I quickly open to, let's say, contributing to Meshery UI, you can find all the dependencies that you would need to install, and actually what command that you need to run. Simply you can execute them in sequence they are specified, and you will be good to go. At any point, if you run into any issue while following these steps, you simply can ask them on community forum, and I'm sure that many will be there to help you out. So this link is already in chat. Also do take note of this. So as many of you might be making pull requests to the main project like we discussed, and let's quickly take a look if you actually are. And looks like we are having many folks submitting their pull requests. So if I can show you, yeah. So if you take a look at this particular pull request, it's from Array, I guess, and I'm sure I just wish that I'm not pronouncing your name wrong, but yeah, it's from Array, and they have submitted a pull request for pairing up, not pairing up the measurement, but submitting their attendance. And you see, it says it is saying that DCO, like what it says. So basically, like this check that you see that is failing, it's saying that your commit has not been signed up by you. Now, what does that mean, and how you can get that set up locally in your system? And so basically, whenever you're making commits, it's doing automatically from your part. You can read more about that into this general contribution flow that's listed on the same page. So basically, if I am to summarize DCO, that's failing onto that particular PR, it's basically you giving your consent to the project that you actually want the project to use your code changes that you did. And so there's a way of doing it, like making this flag there in the command, and how you can do it. Let's not go into this detail. You can read more about it and figure it out into this particular guide. And so that's there. Worry not if you are looking for on fixing this particular issue right now. You simply can follow on details, and I am discussing this in part because many of you may be running into this. So very quickly, if we go to pull requests tab, and if I go to, for example, let's say if yeah, this PR is also missing a DCO. Where it will be helpful for you to be doing is simply go to the very end where it says DCO failing, go to the details, and simply follow this instruction. So once you follow this, that DCO check will no longer be failing. So this is just for those of you who may be looking to fix it right now for your attendance PRs. But yeah, do check out that general flow for knowing what it is and how you can configure it automatically. When we talk about contributing guidelines, let's also take a look at one of the sections in handbook. So we have a handbook in Layer5 IO site, which is main site of the project and community. So in here, like there are any number of sections, and we will not be going through all of them, but a couple of them like community roles. Who are these people, like community manager, how they, what's the checklist they need to fulfill, maintain measurements, and I'm hopeful that maintainers too. And in fact, there's one more like release manager. You can read more about these roles, their responsibilities and eligibility criteria from this particular section, that is community roles section in the handbook. So let me make sure that I share with you the handbook link in chat box. Let's also quickly talk about a couple of other guides. So contribution, again, you can go through it. Let's talk about mentorship programs. So these open source programs, we participate in all of them, like Google Season of Talks, Google Summer of Code. And let's say you want to know more about this particular program, that is Google Summer of Talks. Click on to this yellow button that says Learn More. And there you are, Google Summer of Code this year. What are the ideas, project ideas, who are the mentors, difficulty and like all the details you can read for yourself. You also can go to the upstream issue where they are written. So what I will do, I will share this mentorship program page in chat box directly. And yep, that's true for other program as well, like Hacktoberfest and Linux Foundation one. Again, if you want to know more about this, you can click onto this and it will take you to the latest project ideas that we have, at that time. And you got it right, any number of these programs that you participate in, you also can, and the basic one fundamental rule for all of you to be doing if you want to be a part of any one of these programs is to be consistently engaging and showing up onto the meetings, answering others, and incorporating any feedback that you're getting in, let's say, one of your PRs. And if by any chance you missed applying to any of the programs that are above, if you are here and making impact, you will be landing that one particular opportunity from Layer5, directly from Layer5. So what that program is, again, you can read more. So we'll not be covering that again. So link to all these programs is in chat. You can take a look at it. Yeah, so back to the handbook section. We were talking about handbook, right? We already covered repository overview. Let's quickly talk about recognition program. So yep, you might be having question in mind. So if you are, you are putting efforts and you want to know ways in which your efforts would be recognized and, celebrated into a community. So there are any number of ways, one of which is inviting you to GitHub organizations, and we do it very often. So if you are making code changes, or even if you are helping and contributing to that particular project, you may be invited to one or many of the GitHub organizations that you can then show on your GitHub profile. So for example, if I just quickly go onto my profile, I usually don't do it on my profile, but just for showing you, these badges you can actually proudly display on your badge. So, and as you are invited to the GitHub org, you also get other privileges that any other contributor might not have. So you can read more about that into this particular details page. Also, you get this chance to have a dedicated member profile for you onto this particular page if you are being consistently helpful for 4 to 6 weeks at least. So for example, if we take a look at Abid's profile, who is also a maintainer, you can read about his bio, you can connect to him on any one of these social media handles. And all these folks who have been listed in here, they have been outstanding contributors. And so if you are one of them, you will find yourself having a profile right here. Now, like I am at this particular phase that I just recall one of the tasks that were assigned to me, and I would like to make a call for volunteers just now. So that would be so basically this is the project and repo where I would want that help from any one of you who would volunteer for doing it, and that is creating a new issue. So what I want you is to create a new issue. So, and if you click on new issue button, you will want to have this template which says community member profile, and this profile will be for a contributor, Riya. So if I'm not wrong, it's Riya Garg. I'll confirm with you, but basically you will need to have this title, their name, and then their GitHub handle, their Twitter, LinkedIn, and Layer5 Cloud URL. That's all. You simply can create an issue, and then in the body of it, you can ask them to provide any more detail. So this will be for Ria, right? And any one of you who would be volunteering, you will be opening an issue. If I quickly show you one example issue that's opened for Lawrence, this is it. This is opened by Lee, and as he has details in here, you also can have that. And the template is already out there. You just simply need to include their handles. And just like Lee asked, you also can ask them to provide their details, like a link to their profile picture. Once they do, you also can work on to adding their member profile onto the page, like the site. And you can take inspiration from any number of merged PRs on doing the same thing. So it would be pretty straightforward, introductory, good first issue that I can think of. I think I mean, easiest of the things for you to be getting started with. So if I have any volunteer, I'll pause for 5 seconds. All right, and I do admit that I may not be very clear while, communicating what I actually wanted to say. So if you have any question around what I just discussed about, creating a new member file, let me know. If not, I'll go ahead by creating the issue, and then you can comment onto submitting a pull request. So you just simply can create a pull request while I open the issue. I'll once again pause for 10 seconds if I have any question from any one of you. I don't think so. And at this point, I'd like to ask my host, Marco, if you can once confirm if my audio is, coming through clearly.
Yes, the audio was quite clear.
All right. Thanks a lot. So yes, folks, guess what? I'll go ahead by creating that issue, and then you can comment if you, want to contribute to that particular PR. Let's head back to the handbook. I think that's it. Today we'll just, keep it section as well, and then we'll wrap up the handbook. So this is for those who want to write a blog post or represent the project at international or national events like KubeCon, Cloud Native Con, KCD, and any number of other meetups. So, and giving workshop on writing content. If you are into those area, you simply can fill up this content form. So that way community managers will know and they'll reach out to you. So anyone who would want to write some technical, docs or guides, you also can fill this form. So that link is in chat. Let me quickly get rid of some of these tabs. Yep, we already covered it. We did cover Systent issue, but yeah, if you want to take a look at the YouTube recording of the training session that we had, I'll quickly go ahead by sharing that link. And then these links, they take you to a set of issues and resources that will help you in contributing to that area. So for example, if you want to create some templates, just like what you see when you go to, let's say, Mermaid charts or Figma. So they provide you with this starting template that you can work on making changes to. Similarly, we have this tool Canvas, which you actually can access for free through this particular URL. I'll quickly share that in chat. Yeah, so it's a designer tool for DevOps, and you can access that through the link that I shared. And these set of issues are creating templates for that particular tool. So once again, I'm not going into the detail of these because they have very detailed descriptions. What I will do is simply copy this whole section out and put it in chat. But I'll also will quickly share about one particular link that is there, and which is this one. So if you want to know about all the good first issues across all the projects that we have, just simply follow this link and you will be getting access to them all throughout the project. Ideally, we would go through these next sites, which are categorized based on their framework that they are based on, but we'll be skipping past this section just because we are very short on time. But these 3 to 4 sites that are based on Jekyll, which is a framework, very straightforward, nothing difficult there, and it's also considered a pretty beginner-friendly area to get started with. So this is main site for Meshery project, where you get to know all about Meshery as a project, how you can install it. So for example, if I take a look at Docker's instructions, if I'm running Docker, then how I can install Meshery, and similarly for other platforms. So that's about this particular site. It also has this particular catalog section that you can check out. And yeah, that's pretty much about this particular site. There's also this community page where you can get to know more about the community. So this is it about the project. And if you want to know about the repo where the code is for this particular site, you can click onto the GitHub logo into the footer of any sites that we are discussing, and you will be taken to the repo where the code for that site is. And yep, if you come across any bug, let's say a responsive issue, you also can file an issue onto the same GitHub repo. And similarly, these set of sites that are run on Jekyll are pretty straightforward sites like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I highly recommend that you go and take a look at these sites yourself. Next up, Gatsby. The sites that run on Gatsby are, support React. So they are more dynamic in nature than just simple vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So, and in fact, we were on this site, a couple of minutes ago, and we talked about various sections of the site. If you want to take a look at various open issues that are on this particular site, like I said, you simply can go to this, you can click onto this GitHub logo that will take you to the repo where you can browse through all the open issues. But I highly recommend checking this out. In fact, whatever we are discussing for the sites, we discuss them at length, like all the open issues or PRs on them in one of the meetings that happen on Monday. So it's called websites meeting, where we discuss about all the things related to UI UX and sites. All right, let's go to, and in fact, I'll be talking about calendar where you can find all the links to those meetings. This is particular site which will take you through this flow of getting access to Meshri Playground, live environment where you can play around with all the DevOps component. So do check it out. It's a hands-on tool to learn DevOps, or if you just simply want to make your life easier as a DevOps engineer. The link for this is again in chat. You can click on Open Playground, and then it takes care of setting you into the flow. Next up, very quickly, we will be so I think I pointed out that these, like this one, Layer5 Cloud and Canvas, these are two projects which are private, and you will need to be having access to core team. But if you want to explore the project itself, go ahead. The link is in chat. For Meshri UI, it's something that's open and you can contribute to it. So once again, this particular issue, like the link that is in there, it takes you to all the open issues on Meshri UI, which uses React, Next.js, I guess, and like I'm sure Next.js and MUI and any number of dependencies that you will figure out as you are getting up to the speed. So there's that. We just took a look at Meshri Playground, and yep, Canvas too. So I shared with you a direct link to Canvas, the tool, but what the tool is, and how it helps DevOps folks. You can read about that onto this particular page. So let me also drop that link in chat. It has got two modes. First of all, designing and visualizing your infrastructure as you are doing it, just like you do in through command line writing YAML configuration file. You can do that visually through this tool, and then actually taking a look at your infrastructure, like your pods and containers and other things. So there's this operator mode too. We have dedicated pages on that, so you can check it out later whenever you want to. So link is in chat. We already talked about systems, so let's not cover that again. Point 8 release, it's a blog. So I guess in last year, like I guess not last year, but sometime last year we had point 8 release. And if you want to know more about various features that were introduced, who were the contributors, simply refer to this blog. For our point 9 roadmap, which you actually can participate in if you are comfortable and would like to volunteer for any of the component, just like for this one, which has this question mark, you can take this section and comment into this thread that you want to work on it. And obviously, like, you should be making contribution before you get assigned, just so that it gives confidence in your capabilities. So yeah, if you're comfortable, reach out to the maintainers and sound off that you want to work on this particular area, so that way you might be included into point 9 roadmap. Let me just check if I shared this link in chat. I think I have not. Yeah, that's a good note from Ibrahim. So, yep, I totally understand. And for that reason only, in the beginning of the call, I shared this Google Docs with you all. So do not feel overwhelmed with all these links that I put in chat. You simply can go through all of them whenever you feel like and are free, and can access just to this Google Docs. So I just dropped this Google Docs link too. So I think that would help. This is a teaser video, and if you'd like to take a look at it, again, I'll go ahead by, dropping the link in chat. So Ibrahim, like just above, I shared the Google Docs. There you go in chat. So folks, like we are just about to go on time, but we will be covering these, topics. First of all, them would be the tutorials. So, yep, you heard it right. We have many tutorials that will help you getting started with the project. One of the areas where you will find the tutorials is this particular page. So there it is. And it's in form of recording and slides too, so we can access them whenever you want to. Yep, this is for those who want to know more about Meshery project and how it integrates with other technology that you may be already familiar with, and how it makes it easier to do all sorts of things using Kubernetes. We have some of the guides right now available that you can access through this particular link. I'll just check if I shared this with you. Yeah, I just did. And yeah, like my favorite one that I recommend to all of the people who are just getting started is, sticking to this one first, like exploring Kubernetes pods with Meshery. So simplest topic that you can, know about in cloud native. And so, um, take it first, and then from there you can follow other guides too. So that link too is in chat. And like that takes you from how you can get access to the system to having a fully deployed Kubernetes pod with Meshery. So I think you are in good hands there. Like Sangram, who is the author of this particular blog, he's also CI maintainer. We have a dedicated learning paths on cloud. So once again, I'll be leaving that as a link for you to be exploring later. And this video will be specifically for those who are Windows contributors, like are running on Windows and would like to set up Gatsby locally. One of the contributors, they helped out by making this video. So that link is in chat. And like I said, it's also into this Google Docs. Right now, we are not live streaming this particular meeting, but we used to. And so if you want to take a look at the past playlist, there you go. And I guess we come to this point where we'll be talking about calendar. So what kind of meeting happen all around the week, how you can get access to them, their meeting minutes. So this is meeting minutes for Newcomers meeting, right, that we are having right now. But for other calls, you can get access to the Google Docs for them through this particular page. So I'll be making sure that I share this in chat if I'm not already. Yep, I'll quickly do it. And also, what's the Zoom meeting where you would want to join? So that's again in chat. And I would say that you can save yourself from this hassle by just simply clicking on add to your calendar button, and it will then send you reminders on whenever the meeting starts, 10 minutes before the meeting starts. So there you go. The link is in chat. On Monday, we have weekly sites meeting, which is, as the name suggests, it's on site and UI UX. On Wednesday, it's a weekly meeting, and it's around Meshery, its roadmap and development. On Thursday, that is today, we have, and I think it's 20th, yep. We have weekly Newcomers meeting and also bi-weekly build and release meeting and CNCF tag network meeting. So you are like feel free to join any one of these as per your availability and interest. So again, that link is in chat. Now, I think we'll just quickly be covering some of the resources, and then I'll take questions that you may have. And I cannot help but notice that we are already 3 minutes over the time. And so if any one of you are feeling like, joining any other call, or if you just want to drop off, that's okay. We have already gone like 3 minutes over. I'll quickly cover these, and then we can take questions. First of all, we talked about Playground, so let's not, repeat. We talked about learning paths in cloud, so let's not also repeat that. I think this is worth mentioning. And so if you have any request for us to be creating a tutorial or guide around any concept, you simply can drop that request into this sheet. So link for that is in chat. Yeah, discussion forum, we talked about what's our community forum. So basically in Slack, we lose Slack history every 90 days. So it's not persisted. Your messages are not there forever, but that's ensured in our community forum. So whatever you post here, they will be in the system, forever. So, and it's also helpful for anyone who is looking out for similar answers in future. And so it's always recommended that you collaborate and share your thoughts on our community forum. Once again, I shared this link in chat with you all, but I'll once again go ahead, do that. We talked about community handbook, what it is. We talked about internship programs. We talked about writing program. Yep, what we did not discuss is you giving a star to the project, and that would mean a lot. It's helpful if you start the project, or that way it also reaches out to more and more number of contributors. And if you want to know more about why starring and why stars matter for GitHub projects, we have a blog from one of the contributors. So basically, we have a blog on why star matter for open source project by one of the contributors. So let's say star, and that should come, yeah, on the importance of GitHub stars. So this is a blog. So this is not justification for, by me for you to be starting the project, but I just would wanted to say that if you want to, please do. That helps a lot. In the very end, if you have any question and you want that directly asking to community managers, you simply can use this Google Docs. The link is in chat. And in the very end, yep. Remember when I said that I'll be sharing with you a link where you can suggest any thoughts or ideas that you may have. And this is the place and time for us to be doing that. Any suggestions that you have got for me, even if it's about how I can improve this particular experience for you, what other things I should cover, or if you didn't like anything that I'm doing right now, or if you just simply want to say a thank you, go ahead and do that into this particular thread. So this link is also in chat. So I think that's it, folks. We have covered everything that I wanted to. I'll quickly navigate to the main project's repo and we'll look for attendances from you. And I think we have many attendances. Later, I'll be going through all of your PRs. We'll be merging them, and we'll also be writing this check mark against your name. So many of you are already are doing this. So this is wonderful. But now the time for us is to be taking your questions. So feel free to ask any questions that you may have, and I'll do my best to answer them. If not, we'll take that discussion to Slack. So yeah, feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask questions.
Yeah. Good day.
Yep, please
Thank you for the class. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we can. Please go ahead.
So how can someone like that has a DevOps background how can the person come in? The person has a little knowledge on Kubernetes. So how can the person come in? Because I can see a lot of programming language like React and likes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is not first time that I have been asked that question. And my answer would be no, you don't need to be knowing anything about Kubernetes or DevOps or any technology around that. If you know React, well, we have plenty of areas where you can contribute. If you said that you know Golang or are learning Golang, well, there are any number of areas in Message Server or Message CLI, our Canvas snapshot, any number of other projects that you can contribute to. If you said you know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, well, I think that's all you need to know in order to participate and contribute to some of the sites that we discussed, like these ones that I mentioned, that if you want to take a look at the open issues on them that you would want to work on, you simply can go to their footer and find the GitHub repo. So the answer would be no. Whatever technology that you are right now the expert at, like have experience working in, you just can get started with that, given that we are using that in our projects. And I think you would find a particular page very helpful, and that we were going through. That's called repository overview. So on here, like all the frameworks, technology are listed. So do find your skill in it and go on to that particular project repo and see if there's an issue that you can work on. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for asking. Let's say, okay, I'll also make a quick request. If you have not yet written your name in the attendees, please do. I just dropped the meeting minutes, like Google Docs link in chat. And so, yeah, if you have not yet written your name, please do. It's very important. Any other question?
Okay. My name is not there.
Yeah, so like it's suppose that you will be coming on here and you're writing a name, but for now I'll just simply by going ahead by writing it myself. So I'll be making sure that I do not make any spelling mistakes. Yeah, there it is now. Thanks a lot for letting me know. So folks, I think there's no more question. And so I recommend and, suggest that you ask any one of them as they will be coming to your mind later into our Slack workspace or GitHub or, community forum. And I'm hopeful that you now have something that you can, go and explore later, right? To know more about the community and to get involved. But if not, if I did a terrible job at uh, demonstrating, giving you an overview, always you can ask for help in our community. So I thank you all for being into the community and listening to me sharing about all this. I'll see you on next Thursday, and if not, then on any of the sites or dev meetings that we have. And I'll shortly follow up with you all by sharing the next steps in just now, like into our newcomers channel. So see you all in Slack. Till then, bye everyone.